go blue. Did Disney just learn a lesson about the phrase go woke and go broke? We face risk relating to misalignment with public and consumer tastes and preferences for entertainment, travel, and consumer products.
Yes, but they're my own original creation. Did for her prince to come, but he never did. Because a woman shouldn't have to depend on a man. Snow White was brought back to life by a lady doctor.
And she lived happily ever after?
Well, she couldn't indulge in strenuous activities like handball.
Rachel Zegler is furious once again. Over the past few days, the internet has exploded with theories claiming she's demanding that studios like The Simpsons, South Park, and others take down or ban episodes that mocked her Snow White remake. But how true is that? Let's start with the obvious. Disney's new woke Snow White is officially a box office disaster. Despite a massive marketing push and a high production budget, the film only made about $194.8 million globally.
Snow White bombs, breaks records for the lowest live-action remake opening ever. Let me say that again, ever.
Even worse, the film hasn't even recovered its production costs, let alone the massive marketing budget. According to multiple outlets, this is being called one of Disney's biggest losses in years. Some estimates suggest Disney could lose up to $600 million when all is said and done.
Worst opening weekend in the history of Disney live-action movies. Well, live-action animated remakes, we should say. That's not very good, even below something like Dumbo that absolutely flopped at the box office.
The damage goes beyond poor ticket sales. Snow White was banned in Lebanon and pulled early from several theaters due to low attendance. But Rachel Zegler is still managing to stay in the spotlight. Viral TikToks and YouTube videos now claim she's targeting cartoon studios, demanding they remove episodes that mocked her version of Snow White. So we decided to investigate the truth behind this controversy. And what we found might surprise you.
Are there any dwarves in your story?
Yes, but they're my own original creation. There's Krabby, Drunky, Hungry, Greedy, Lenny,
Kearney,
and Doc. Tor Hibbert.
Resurfaced episode of The Simpsons features a scene where a doctor revives a fairy tale character, and the plot weirdly matches what Disney did with its Snow White remake. Disney, alongside Rachel Zegler, replaced the iconic Seven Dwarfs with CGI creatures to avoid offending modern audiences.
Progressive in one way, but you're still making that fucking backward story of seven dwarves living in a cave. What the are you doing, man?
Because right now there's more dwarves on this podcast than there are in the new Snow White movie. And that's probably due to Peter Dinklage.
Yep.
Later in that same Simpsons episode, a character says, "A woman doesn't need a man." And in the story, Snow White is brought back to life by a female doctor, not a prince. Sound familiar?
Snow White slept and waited for her prince to come, but he never did. Because a woman shouldn't have to depend on a man. Snow White was brought back to life by a lady doctor.
And she lived happily ever after?
Well, she couldn't indulge in strenuous activities like handball, but otherwise, she was fine.
That's nice.
It's almost identical to what Rachel said during her promotional interviews, that her Snow White wouldn't need a prince or romance to be complete. The Simpsons episode unintentionally mirrored Disney's exact messaging, long before the remake was even announced.
You've told me before that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There is a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. So we didn't do that this time.
The key point here, The Simpsons roasted Snow White years ago. People online are shocked that the parody matches the remake so closely. And while some doubt Disney would allow The Simpsons to mock their own IP, they've actually done it before, and allowed it to air without interference.
Homer Simpson here, proud addition to the Disney family and soon appearing on Disney+. I, for one, salute our new corporate overlords. Now, family, put on the mouse ears. You only get one chance to make a first impression.
I don't wanna, I'm not gonna, you can't make me.
Posts claim that The Simpsons recently aired a new episode mocking the remake. That's false. After digging deeper, Reddit users confirmed this was an old episode, Season 20, Episode 20, titled 4 Great Women and a Manicure, which aired back in 2009. People are pretending it's new to fit the narrative, but it's not. This parody didn't predict Disney. Disney just happened to copy what The Simpsons already mocked years ago.
I never want it to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have. I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats.
This isn't the first time Rachel has responded emotionally to criticism. She once posted a picture of herself sitting alone in an almost empty theater during a Snow White showing, seemingly to prove she didn't care about the hate. But online, it only added fuel to the She also previously stirred up controversy with harsh criticism of Trump supporters. After the election, she posted a dramatic rant about how the country was turning into a place she didn't want to raise her daughter in, even though she has no daughter. Lines about forced pregnancies, fear, and never letting Trump voters know peace triggered another wave of backlash.
This is the same woman who posted on Instagram after the election. I find myself speechless in the midst of this. Another 4 years of hatred, leaning us toward a world I do not want to live in. Leaning us toward a world that will be hard to raise my daughter in. P.S. There's no daughter. Leaning us toward a world that will force her to have a baby she doesn't want. There's no daughter and there's no daughter's baby. Leaning us toward a world that is fearful. This law should not have been, and it certainly should not have been by so many votes. I echo Ethel Kane's statement more than anything. May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace.
Is Rachel actually demanding that The Simpsons or South Park take down episodes mocking her? After checking credible sources, there's no official statement, no legal action, and no confirmed request. But based on her history, it wouldn't be surprising if private efforts were happening quietly. Rachel doesn't take public mockery lightly, and with South Park already roasting Disney multiple times, and Family Guy and YouTubers jumping in, she may be more worried about future parodies than old ones her. Social media behavior is already being blamed as a key reason why audiences rejected Snow White reports from outlets like The Independent have directly connected her interviews and political posts to the movie's failure. At this point, Rachel Zegler's name is tied to Disney's struggle with live-action remakes and with pushing modern woke messaging. Whether or not she's demanding episodes be removed, the damage is done. She's become a meme, a symbol of Hollywood's disconnect with audiences. Now, we want to hear from you. Is Rachel Zegler being unfairly targeted? Or is this just the internet calling out Hollywood's missteps? Should Disney continue working with Rachel for future projects like Tangled, or is it time to move on? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'll feature some of the best ones in the next video. See you next time.